Hi everyone, Season 9 is about to start and I want to bring you an updated leveling guide, how to get to level 60, because things have changed quite a bit in this patch. So what you need to know is that the Nightmare dungeons have been revamped, so you might have seen this with the new Nightmare dungeon escalation system. But not only that, it also brought us a lot of new positive and negative dungeon affixes. And one of them is particularly interesting for this strategy, which is the Forgotten Wisdom sigil. So this is one of the possible outcomes when you get or craft a sigil from any source. And this can actually really boost your level speed a lot. So back on the PDR, we tried this out and there were some really fast runs to level 60 in the range of something like 90 to 120 minutes or so, starting on a fresh character. But it also depends a little bit how lucky you get because of this randomness of crafting or finding Nightmare Dungeon sigils. But we do expect this to be very good. Now, in the final patch notes, there was a note that they have like retweaked the scaling of this a little bit, because the way this worked and why it was so good was that this was a flat XP value regardless of character level and regardless of difficulty setting that you were in. Now, with those changes in the final patch notes, it does sound a little bit like it will probably scale up with both now, but we don't really know how much, and we also don't know if they have reduced the base experience that you get for each of those experience globes in Nightmare Dungeons. So we'll have to see exactly, but I do expect that Blizzard is probably trying to, shake up the leveling meta a little bit and make this a bit more interesting. This is certainly what I'll be going for, and especially in parties where you have a lot more sigils to choose from, it should be pretty consistent to get those experience sigils and then just like fly to level 60 basically. So I'll actually be trying this with some of my Maxwell friends, so Condis, Chronix and Panda, and well, we'll see what happens. But our goal for this season is actually to reach level 60 in 1 hour, at least if it works something close to what it was on the PTR. And potentially it might even be better thanks to extra difficulty and level scaling. So maybe it even is going to stay relevant beyond level 60. Because, for example, what happened on the PTR was that because it had this flat value that was really strong for low levels, it really didn't give you much XP later when you were in torment difficulties and higher Paragon, for example. So it could be that they kind of kept it the same, but just made it way better later on. And maybe all the way to Paragon 300, it might become a relevant source of experience and an alternative to, for example, grinding the pit to get those Paragon levels. Now the question is, how do you actually get those Nightmare Dungeon sigils? Because there are some restrictions here on a low level character. And what you need to know for that is that you can only use the Occultist if you have unlocked a Codex power or you have reached level 25. So usually you don't want to wait up to level 25, but you want to wait until level 15. And in that case, you have to go do one regular dungeon in order to unlock some codex power. So you can check, for example, for your leveling guide. There might usually be one pretty good one that you can just get, and you build more powerful as well. So this will help you all the way throughout your journey. Just do one dungeon right at the start, basically. And this allows you to use the Occultist earlier. And then you can also craft those sigils as soon as you get sigil powder. Now that being said, you don't get sigil powder right away. For that, you have to wait until level 15. So this means that you usually start in Helltide, like you see here right now. And after finishing that dungeon and potentially unlocking some stuff on the season quest line as well, you usually want to do that pretty early as well to potentially unlock the seasonal reward track already. That might help you. Or maybe we also get lucky, since it's like a Nightmare Dungeon season basically. We might even get a sigil for free when we do the season quest line, but that is unknown right now. Either way, you do Helltides a little bit until you get your first sigil, and you can do that at level 15. So usually just collect all the cinders and then at 15 open the chests, and you can also do a whisper turn-in, and those things can give you sigil powder. You will need 60 sigil powder in order to craft your first Nightmare Dungeon sigil. You get 30 from a whisper turn-in, or you get like a little bit less from each of those Helltide chests if you have reached level 15. And basically, as soon as you get your first Nightmare Dungeon sigil, you are fine. You can just go on a pretty easy difficulty and fly through those Nightmare Dungeons. And if you have one of those that says Forgotten Wisdom, which is one of the positive affixes that spawns these XP globes, then you should really try to like full clear this, do all the events, explore the side rooms and so on. And if not, you just kind of try to rush to the end, finish the dungeon, and then continue to the next and try to get another sigil, because every time you finish one nightmare dungeon, you will get a new sigil automatically. You can also find some more sigil or sigil powder from the elites in there, or if you find a butcher or events in there, for example. But realistically, it's just kind of like fly to the end if it's not the right one, and full clear if it has the experience modifier. Unfortunately, I don't actually have a clip of showing how crazy the experience you get is here on the PTR, but when I tried this, for example, and also other people I've seen, if you get like one decent dungeon with this Forgotten Wisdom Affix, these monsters keep spawning these experience globes, and you just fly through it on normal difficulty, and you would get like 10 level ups. You go from like level 30 to level 40 in like 2 minutes or something like that. So this is how crazy that gets, and this is why that strategy is actually so viable. Now again, we don't know 100% how much this has changed, but it was pretty insane on the PTR at least. So I think that a lot of people are probably looking forward to probably blasting some nightmare dungeons with the revamp, for example, and this is likely going to be a very good strategy no matter what. So it's also just more exciting, I think, to have a bit of like the randomness and the extra rewards you get there. You can much more easily stack up some materials for later because there's other affixes that help you with that, for example. There are these heraldic strong rooms here for the seasonal stuff, where you can also prepare already your like upgrades for your season powers, for example. So there's also various other perks to running nightmare dungeons this season, I would say. But the other strategies, if you like those, still exist. So there is campaign leveling on normal difficulty for the Vessel of Hatred campaign. That is traditionally the fastest way to get to 60. Unless you have like a really blaster build or something like that, where you can just like one-shot everything in Penitent, for example. Something like Evade Spiritborn is probably strong enough to outpace that just by going Penitent difficulty and farming Helltide and other City of Curas or so. But yeah, we have something new and something fresh to try, and I think it's gonna be pretty cool. So again, the TLDR, you start your character, do like a whatever is like an easy difficulty, normal, hard, maybe expert, and do your first dungeon, so you unlock the Occultist, do the season quest line until you unlock the reward track and potentially get a nightmare dungeon sigil in there. And otherwise, you farm Helltides until level 15, open all the chests, preferably on Penitent difficulty if you can, and then you go nightmare dungeons once you get the first sigil crafted with 60 powder. And then you just kind of rush through the nightmare dungeons if they're not the right ones, or you full clear everything when it has the Forgotten Wisdom affix. So that's the strategy. Hope you enjoyed this. I wish you good luck with the Season 9 start, and well, I guess I'll see you guys next time.